Ever since I got into the Nerf hobby, there's a few things I really wanted to get my hands on. Number one is obviously power armor, because come on, who doesn't love power armor? Number two is actually just a big, chunky, ridiculous bolt gun. Now this right here is a project I started way back when the Moto Strike came out. As soon as the Moto Strike came out, I was like, I'm gonna minimize that thing and I'm gonna build a shell around it to look like a bolt gun. However, I just couldn't get the aesthetics right. Fortunately, UPW Design came out with a Mega XL bolt gun. And this is a fully 3D printed bolt gun that you can build yourself. A lot of these parts you see here are from that kit. I highly encourage other people to try building that bolt gun. Keep in mind, if you want to go with the brushless route, it's gonna be a little bit pricey. You got to figure out how to get those flywheels, and that's why I ended up going with this build. Now, I made a huge mistake not too long ago when I teased this thing, so I'm gonna go into a little bit more detail later in this video, but for now, let's go ahead and jump right into the Nerf 40K bolt gun. Like I was saying, I made a huge mistake. When I was teasing this thing before, I said, you know what really bothers me? It's when people make bolt guns or bolters or bolt pistols and they make them around stuff like this, you know, the small elite darts or the short darts or even the rival. And then I teased this thing and I was like, this is what a bolter round looks like. Couple things going on here. Number one, apparently, some people let me know that the bolter round is actually 75 caliber. And to put things in perspective, an elite dart is 50 caliber. So actually the mega dart is closer to 75 caliber, or the diameter of a rival round. Now, a rival round isn't really a good representation of a bolter round because it's a ball. I mean, come on. This right here is closer, and the Mega XL dart is actually too big. But there is something worth noting about a bolter round. Basically, it is a rocket round. When it hits a target, it explodes like a rocket. In 40K lore, when a bolter round hits an orc, it actually explodes on impact. This is extremely devastating to humanoid-sized targets and things wearing armor, and can even damage light armored vehicles. So with all that in mind, I have to explain why this is kind of a misconception. Now, when you play 40K, the models that you're using are not a one-for-one representation of the actual size of things. Like the size of a tank isn't really the real size of what the tank would be to the Marines, because obviously you can't fit these guys into something like this. It just doesn't fit. In addition, models over the years have gotten bigger. So if you look at the early stuff, they're actually very short. Now that Space Marine model from back in the day was supposed to represent a 7 to 8 foot tall superhuman. And many times when you look at the bolters that they're holding, the rounds are this big. They're literally the size of Red Bull cans. As time goes on, more and more information has been added, and the running consensus right now is that a bolter round is in fact 75 caliber or around there. Now, when it comes to the 40K universe, the whole thing is kind of convoluted, and there's never anything that's really like set in stone when it comes to trying to figure out how big something is. There is one rule that holds true, and that is, however big you think it is, it's probably way bigger, because that's the whole motto of 40K. And the 40K universe is everything is just overly large, overly powerful, and extremely ridiculous. And that's kind of why I love it. So many of you out there probably still believe, and I kind of believe this myself, that this is the size of a bolt round, because hey, this is a fantasy world. Their scale of measurement doesn't even translate to ours. It's a fictitious fake world. So I still think it's awesome. But with all that said, let's talk about this build, because I am just ecstatic on how this turned out. This thing looks absolutely beautiful. I chose the green paint scheme because I am a Salamanders player. Ideally, I'd put some type of Salamander type of logo on here, but this is what I had at the time. Let's head on over to the workbench so I can show you what's going on in here. Let me pop this open and show you what we got going on. First off, I really like how this works. Twist the barrel off, and you can get to the battery compartment. Now this whole assembly is held together with only a couple of these M3 bolts. There's one, there's two, and then two more on this side. Once that's off, this kind of just pops off, kind of comes off the top, and then this slides out the bottom. And there's the blaster. Isn't that a sight for sore eyes? Now, if you're wondering what this is, it is a minimized Moto Strike. Let me show you what it looked like before. And that's the Moto Strike. This was a magazine accepting mega dart shooting. That's a 10 dart magazine. As you can see, we've just really minimized it down and skeletonized it. In addition to that, it's also been rewired for 3S LiPo. I've used the stock motors and the stock wheels inside here, as they seem to be fine under 12 volts. Pusher is still manual. One thing worth noting about this blaster is even in its stock form, I've never been a fan of this mag release. Let's see what kind of performance we're getting after we have rewired this blaster. Now, we're using the 12 dart Busby Tyrant magazine because this is the best magazine for Mega Darts. In addition, we're using the Mega AccuDart, which is the best Mega Dart. So let's see what kind of chronograph numbers we get. We got 87, 84, and 85. So we're looking at mid to upper 80s, which is really good for Mega. This next part's gonna be a little tricky because that target is 50 feet away. It's pretty difficult to hit a target with a Mega Dart at 50 feet. So let's see if we can even pull it off. So I'll be aiming at that little yellow target down there. Let's see if we can even hit this thing. Nice. Let's see if I can hit it again. Yeah, so not only is this blaster accurate, but it also hits hard. So in the world of foam flinging, a Mega Dart that's traveling that fast and hitting that accurately definitely deserves the title of bolter. So in summary, I'm really excited to have a big, beautiful 40K Nerf bolter hanging on my wall. Now I just gotta build a big old foam chainsaw to go with it. Well, if you got this far in the video, I wanna thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about this build. Let me know if you agree with my idea of the bolter round and how it translates to the Nerf hobby. As always, I'm DrFlux. I wanna thank you for watching. Be safe and happy foam flinging.